Delightful Discussions by Intimate Delights. I'm Robin Hamilton, and I am joined by 4 guests: Barbara Bogan,
Hi.
Pri Damon, Eric Lee,
Hey.
and April McNair.
Hello.
Today we're going to be discussing what goes wrong in relationships. I want to know why lovers cannot keep love alive in relationships. What goes so terribly wrong? Today I have 2 perspectives. I have the male perspective and the female perspective, and today we're going to be discussing what they believe happens in relationships. So, as you guys all know, I wrote my book, and I have this burning desire to know what goes wrong in relationships. What happens in the beginning when we just, we fall in love and we're thinking, okay, I want to marry this person and I want to have kids. You get to that point, and then all of a sudden, I hate this person. I want to divorce him. I want to kill him. And some people end up killing them. So can anybody want to start and give me your perspective? Like, what happens? We've all been in relationships. We've all been in love before. So what happens? What really goes wrong that we can't keep love alive? You want to start, Eric?
Well, I guess I should.
Yeah.
You put me on the spot like
Yeah.
that. Well, I think a lot of times some people would just put in that representative of who we are when you first started dating people. I mean, you always want to put that best foot forward, and the young lady doesn't do certain things and the young man doesn't do certain things. I think we put on some airs at the beginning because we're all trying to put on the good face.
But do you think that's fair? I mean, that people do that?
Well,
Why can't you just be yourself? Then that way you won't have to run into this, now I hate this person, because it's almost like you don't know who you're getting involved with because you're putting on these airs.
Well, leaving the seat up might be a problem, so you keep it down when she first walks in the house. But if as a man, usually, if you live by yourself, the seat stays up.
I don't know, April, what do you think? What do you have to say about that?
I think it depends on the individuals themselves, because if you meet a person, basically it's supposed to be what you see is what you get. Mm-hmm. So instead of putting up a facade of being someone that you're not, just be yourself. And either the person would just want to be interested in you. Right. They'll be interested in you. I mean, everyone is not perfect. Everyone is individuals.
Right, exactly.
So, you're going to have some flaws that you may not want to deal with, but you got to work together to work it out.
Right. Well, Pri, you've been in relationships before, haven't you? Okay. So what do you think? What is your take on it?
I honestly believe that a lot of times certain ladies out there are just not being realistic.
Was it just the ladies? Come on now, let's be fair.
Ladies aren't being realistic sometimes. I think men are more driven by what they feel that women need and want. So, most of the time we're just more focused on, trying to be that good provider.
Be the provider, yeah.
Yeah, so, we're focused on generating income, boosting revenue, all that type of things, because the ladies put it out that that's what they want.
Okay, well, in the beginning, you put that out there that you can do this? I mean, well, what happens?
No, I think you should be honest. And, whenever you come to the table with someone, be honest. But what I'm saying is what I found out in my personal life is that, ladies aren't being honest with themselves or with me in the beginning. You know what I mean?
But you feel you're being honest with the people? Or?
All the time.
Barbara, what do you think about that?
Well, I think that in a perspective of when you're getting with somebody, you should have a conversation about your future.
Well, let me ask you this. Okay, you were married before. In the beginning, you fell in love with that person. Are you still married?
No.
What happened? Why didn't you keep the love alive? What went wrong? What do you think happened?
There are a lot of dynamics. I think one of the dynamics were we were just out of high school.
Okay,
we didn't really.
So young, being young.
Right, being young. But I think that we didn't have a future conversation of what our prospective futures would have looked like together. So we never really sat down and said, we're going in this direction or that direction, and we ended up going in separate directions.
Okay.
So that was a factor.
Okay. Well, who else had a relationship that, in the beginning everything was fine? Because I know I did. I was in love like nobody's business.
Well, I think, one of the relationships that I had, or one of the longest lasting, most fulfilling, was probably the last one that probably hurt me the most. I was looking to start a family and do what I needed to do from the male's perspective. But sometimes you just meet the right person at the wrong time.
Well, what do you mean by the male perspective? You had to do what?
Well, in terms of, were you trying to get your life, okay, where we're going to live, the provider, from the financial, from the emotional, from the spiritual side. The thing about it is we were going in 2 different directions, and I didn't know that because she wasn't totally honest with herself. Because you got to understand that sometimes
But what does that mean, not being honest with yourself?
Well, let me finish.
Okay.
About her not being honest with herself, she was recently divorced.
Okay.
and she thought she was ready to get into a relationship. And you know, when you tell me you are, you know, I'm in this relationship with you. She had 2 children from a previous marriage. You know, I'm putting myself out there. You know, I'm gearing my mindset up. Okay, this is instant family. Ed, Eric, and just stir. You know, but am I good with that? Yeah, I loved her kids. So, you know, when it came down to the part of, okay, let's really think about getting married, finding a place, doing what we need to do, got cold feet. And I said to myself, maybe you need to, when people are telling you what they are, really take a look at, you know, what their actions are, because you can be blinded by love. But that doesn't mean that, you know, the next person that comes along, what I find is that there are a lot of people that will take the baggage from their last relationship and take it to the new relationship. Understand that that person didn't do anything to you. So you should not hold them responsible for the sins of someone else. So I know it's hard to do that. Well,
what would any of you do different?
Take a time out.
Take the time out.
Yeah, like, you know, I fell in love before myself as well, you know. And after that breakup, I didn't date for like a year and a half.
That's all? You want to love, bro.
It was
you really love? It takes a minute.
It was a year. Look, it felt like a divorce to me, you know what I'm saying? It was a year and a half, but you know, it was a year and a half before I was open to dating, you know what I mean? And then even when I dated, it was really cautious, you know, and, you know, wondering what are the motives, you know, all kind of different things, you know. I didn't want to get hurt again like that. So, you know, you kind of guard your feelings, which is pretty much handicapping yourself in the beginning as well, so.
I mean, they're hard. I've been single since 04, and I wonder if there's some fear with me. But I'll say right now I'm enjoying the singleness, because there is a lot of drama that comes with relationships. But I'm just talking about when we do get back in relationships, and you meet that person and you feel like you're in love, and you know, you want to just, you know, spend the rest of your life with this person. That thing that happens in the beginning, why can't you maintain it the whole way through? So now you're not divorcing that person. That's what I mean. Why can't we maintain that? What do you think it would take to maintain that?
Maturity.
That's like
yes, that's true. Yes.
That's
maturity. That's like going on a marathon and sprinting the whole 26 miles. That'll never happen. There's going to be some downtime.
Somebody's going to do it.
There are going to be some downtime.
You got to rest a little bit.
But you have to have communication during those downtimes.
But it's possible. You can't say it's not going to happen.
Well, I'm not saying, well, you say, well, how do you take that excitement from the beginning and keep it the whole time? That's what I'm saying, trying to sprint a marathon. You can't keep up that pace for 26 miles. So you have to.
It's a work in progress.
It's a work in progress. There are going to be some times that, you know what, I'm bored with you.
And say that.
And it's okay.
I think that's.
Then when people look at the book that I wrote, then they can, you know what, I got to do something to keep this love alive. Do something. That's a reminder. That's what the book is about, to remind you to keep your love alive. That's what it is.
And I believe, I got to give it back to my aunt for this one. She told me this a long time ago, and I've taken it with me a long time. If mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy.
Yeah.
So, not to sell myself out as a man, but you know what? It's very important to make sure that your woman is happy, but at the same time, she needs to make sure her man is happy too.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a two-way street. And I think a lot of times, we'll get into relationships and we'll do these things to keep people happy, but we'll stop.
Right.
You know, whatever you did to keep them, to get them, keep them.
Right.
If you came in here with black pumps on, keep the black pumps on.
Exactly.
You know what, if I came in at 185, I don't need to get to 285.
Right. April, what do you think? Well, I'm sorry.
Here's the mistake that people make. You can't be with someone that's going to make you happy. You got to be happy already before you can be involved with someone. Now, with that being said, the person that comes in your life has to be the one to enhance you,
compliment you,
but vice versa.
Right.
It goes both ways. You may be weak in one area,
right.
He may be strong in the other, and vice versa. Y'all got to work together. It's like a business.
Right.
No,
you may be strong in a certain area in the business department, but he got the skills and everything. Like, what should I do?
Right.
And the main thing is, you know, you can't have like a competition type of thing.
I was about to talk about Atlanta.
You know, and it's like, you know, some people feel that, you know, because they either, take me for instance, I've been by myself for over 10 years, a single parent raising kids, and I'm a very independent, strong woman. But I know how to step back and let a real man be the man.
Exactly.
In the relationship.
What's that though? What's a real man? You know, a
And
lot
that
of ladies,
question was
I've been
coming.
hearing that ever since I was in college.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I have a tendency.
There is something about a real man.
But I have a tendency to fire people because of jealousy. I cannot
Did she
stand
say
that.
fire?
I did. I said fire. I said that.
She just go Donald Trump.
He said it was a business. A relationship is a business, so you can fire
But
somebody.
yeah, you have to let that person be an individual within the relationship. I mean, like right now, I'm hosting my own show. If you're at home, don't be mad. You know, and there's jealousy issues. And I think that that's like the worst character trait.
I don't see how you can be jealous of your companion, you know.
Exactly. That probably means you're not compatible. How about that?
Well, I think a lot of people are, when we're looking for our better half, the worst thing you can have is a competitor instead of a companion.
Right.
I need you to compliment me, not to compete.
Exactly. And like you said, that's maturity.
Well, you know, there are some folks that think they can handle it. I know I've been in, I guess, semi-show business for a little bit, and I meet a lot of people that, especially my female friends that are my counterparts in the business, they find that when, you know, the relationship starts, that the man can handle it. Then all of a sudden, you know, she's got to be out for this event, that event, hosting this or that. And then they get to the point, well, you know, you're my woman, you know, I want you home, I want you to be with me. But if you knew that going in, don't be upset about it.
And that's not fair, right?
I've had the problems, well, what you doing tonight? Well, you know,
I guess I'm going to play
have to
devil's
host an event.
advocate because I think it's just two sides to every story.
And you're right.
You know, it's always two sides to every story, and she might have been, you know, taking care of her business and different things like that in regards to her professional life, but then she could have been lacking in her personal life. But you know, no one ever knows, you know. But I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this. You know,
Talk to me, caller.
You know,
You got show business up in here.
I had the pleasure of speaking with Ed Hartwell, you know, during the Bonner Brothers event, and he kind of told me, he said, you know, when I was talking to him about, well, how you know, how do you find the right one? Because to me, it seems like all the ladies are crazy. And then Ed was like, you know what, Pre? They all crazy. He said it's just about finding the right amount of crazy for you, the amount of crazy that you can handle. Right. And I thought about that, and I said, you know what? He might be right, though. He might be right just a little bit.
I don't know if I agree.
I don't want to agree with that.
No, because I don't want to.
A little bit strong.
Right.
You know?
It's a strong word. I think that you have to have a balance in a person. If a person can't bring balance of some sort into your life, then that really is crazy because you're driving yourself crazy trying to make a square peg fit in a round hole.
Right. But what about those days where, you know, someone's just having a bad day and you walk in the house or whatever and you're like, hey, dear, hey, what's up, hon? And then all of a sudden she just chop your head off.
Well, there's something called PMS that you need to, like, educate yourself about when it comes to things.
There we go. Drink.
See, this is the thing. They always, you know, when you address
Always
something,
can blame that, huh?
Right. When you address
They got
it,
that crutch.
when you address an issue, there's always a reason for it. So it's not crazy because, I'm going through something right now, so I'm not crazy.
You know,
Maybe you need a belly rub.
realistically, though, that person, like me, I always say to check your, like at work, check your issues at the door. Don't bring your home life, personal life to work. And so if you're having a bad day, don't take it out on people. And I think that person should make a conscious effort to know,
to at least communicate.
Yeah, look, honey, I'm having a bad day. I'm just, let me have some time by myself. I don't agree with somebody flying off the handle. I really don't. I've been in situations like that before, and I'm like, this isn't necessary. If I'm having a bad day, I'm going to let you know, But see, and I think that's an element to keeping love alive in a relationship, because you'll be like, oh,
right. What can I do with you? You want some cookies?
Yeah, instead of,
What'd you say?
You want some cookies?
Okay.
Milk and cookies.
It's going to make you feel warm and fuzzy when your girl says, you know what, I'm just having a bad day. Give me a minute. As opposed to, where's the knife? I'm going to chop your head off,
But it's something that we haven't touched on, is that when you're talking about keeping love in the relationship, we're talking strictly between the man and a woman.
Right.
But at the same time, where's your spirituality? Where do you include God into your relationships?
That's true, right.
Because it says a threefold cord is hard to break.
That's if the two people believe. So that you have to get that out of the way in the beginning.
But we assume that if you're marrying someone, you probably should be spiritually compatible, and if not, that's a problem off the giddy.
Exactly.
Right.
Especially if you're walking in that direction.
If you're walking in that direction, and because like they say in the vows, what God has put together, let no man pull apart. And the thing about it is, you have to include God daily into your relationship, because we know that the world will continuously put out pictures and images on what they think relationships should do. We should be able to live like the Desperate Housewives or the Real Housewives of Atlanta. But that's not. That's not real life.
Right.
And they make it look like it's okay.
Yeah, you're right.
You don't see anything about how real love is had and maintained. And the way that it's maintained through your relationship with God.
Well, I think that men are afraid to have relationships with God. They think that it's like, some people are. Oh, that's what I'm saying, but some people are because, you have to be the head, so you have to lead by example. So if you're not going to do your part. I
think some men are fearful of putting it out there that they love God. I think that's what comes with maturity too.
Right.
And for me, I guess, for every man, they're going to go through something, and it's going to get them closer to God because they're going to realize that that's where your power comes from.
Right.
And I think as life, I'm a little older than Pre. I got more days behind me than I probably have in front of me, so I recognize that. So I guess when you're talking about a man, what type of man are you talking about? You're talking about a mature man that's lived some life and understand that just like anything else, we'll get to a point where, I've done this, I've done that. There's something else out there. And that's
while you're in a relationship, is that what you're saying?
In a relationship as well as in life. So when you're talking about finding a man, usually when you find a more mature man, they're probably a lot closer to getting close to God because they know time is ticking. Yeah. You better get it right. Ain't no atheist in a foxhole. So
that's true.
as you get older, you recognize that the world is changing, and you have to change in a direction.
It's a decision.
And the person that you're looking to have. But a lot of times we'll try to do this on our own, and I call that ego, edging God out.
Okay, so you're in a relationship with somebody, and maybe you're married, and you're making these decisions in your mind. So what are you going to do? How are you going to fix it to keep the love alive, or get it, or reignite that spark?
Well, first and foremost, I say, look.
Because everybody wants to run. That's the easy way out. You're in it now, so now what are you going to do? Just walk away, or what are you going to do?
Go back to the basics.
That's exactly what, that's
Go back to the basics.
Just pass.
Yeah.
I mean, you ain't got to dunk the ball every time in order to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're in a relationship with a woman and you're trying to keep love alive, then your sex game got to be on point. And, I'm just
It's about to get real interesting.
Hey, I can't believe no one was saying that. That's the basis. It's like you have to, share that time with one another.
Yeah,
that's the
right.
most intimate moment that you're gonna have.
Right.
And, that's how you connect.
But a lot of people like to
spiritually.
put that intimacy in front of spirituality, in front of the important things like communication.
Right.
Because when the sex go, she gonna be gone. But if you have a friendship based in
that's important too,
based in love and spirituality and just being, that's when you'll have your friend, because some of the best love or the pictures or visions of love that I've ever seen were those old folks about 85,
and they're friends.
They're friends, and they can complete each other's
Right.
sentences, and they laughing and giggling. You're trying to figure out, y'all been married forever.
I want them to be on the show. Tell me.
Those are the people that you need to talk to about having to do, because you can't teach me how to be a millionaire if you had never been a millionaire.
Right.
You can't teach me how to be in a relationship till I'm 80 unless you've done that.
Right.
So I think a lot of times when we look at people that we need to talk to about relationships and things of that nature, find out from the folks that have done it, that have been there, that have gone to war, that got the scars, that understands Papa was a Rolling Stone when he was 25 years old, but he came in the house when he was 30, and he's been right ever since.
Right, and there was a level of commitment that lasted 40 and 50 years.
But you know what I found out? And because I talk to everybody. I'm a big networker. I speak to older people. I mean, I'm just saying. I talk to everyone, and when I meet older people, elderlies, the ones that you look up to for wisdom, and they're couples and they're together, they are horny.
Well, that's a good thing, though.
They're horny.
That's
Viagra, dude.
I'm telling you. Look, I mean, obviously, it's a market for Viagra for a reason. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, girl.
And one of my friends is a nurse, and she said it's funny. Those men that's in the hospital, those older men who need care from nurses and things like that, they might not be able to get an erection anymore, but they still flirt and they still talk about, certain things.
And that's a key element to keeping love alive. So we've all been in relationships. We've all loved and lost. So my question to everybody is, what would you do differently to keep it alive? And it's not just that you started dating somebody, now you're married. And now you feel that burning thing in your stomach, oh my God, did I make a mistake? What are you going to do from that point? What would you do?
I think I would definitely kick up my level of communication because that's important to me.
Right.
I need to know.
Or find out what the problem is.
Right, right. If we're having a conflict of some sort, I think that being able to communicate effectively and not shutting each other out, because that can cause problems on the back end. Right. But being able to say, hey, you know, this bothered me when you did that, and I didn't like us going over here, right. Or, you know, your mother is getting on my nerves, or being able to say those things that the other person can understand that, hey, I'm trying to get a solid to a solid point to where we can understand one another.
Right, right, right. Well.
You know, and I have friends. I have friends that's married. You know, my friend Jack Rip and his wife Jody, you know, he tells me all the time, he was 20 when he married her. She's 18. You know, I don't know how old they are now, but they're way older than 20 and 18. And he tells me all the time, he says, you know, they went through a growing process together. They grew together. Yeah, right. You know, they had their ups and downs.
And me and one of my last marriage, that was one of the things that we didn't do. I think we grew apart. I grew and he stayed kind of stagnant. Right. I don't know if that was by choice or the area or whatever the case might be, but growing together is important. It's again, it's a decision that you have to make. I mean, you can sense when somebody's growing apart. So you have to decide, do I want to go golfing or, because I hate it. Right. I'm just throwing that out there, or whatever that person likes, that now all of a sudden you're like, they're spending too much time. Should I join that craft or whatever? Yeah,
because like with Jack, you know, and Jody, you know, I look at their situation, you know, and I say, you know, she had all kind of opportunities just like to like want to leave or not support him. Right. He chose an industry that is like very hard to get into, like being a hip hop Christian artist. And I've been, you know, since I host events and different things, you know, he's always been there, and I brought him in when I can and different things of that nature. And sometimes the crowds was there, sometimes they he wasn't making any sales and different things like that. And all of those times she still stood by him. It even got to the point where
that's through better or through worse.
Yeah, right. And even through all of that, you know, at one point she was holding things down at home, but he didn't slack off. He's always been a go-getter himself. And I think, you know, more than anything is that it really do take communication. So I look at older couples and I look at younger couples and people my age and my peers too. And lately, you know, I've been asking questions. And I've been
He's doing his homework. Your leg's shaking over there. What you got to say?
I'm just, you know, I just think it's so different now because you know, I'm woe to the young ladies out here for the type of young brothers that I see out in the streets now, because ain't no opening the doors. There's
no chivalry is definitely dead. Yeah,
pulling out the chair.
Yeah,
treat a lady like a lady. You know, it's so funny because as I go out and on a dating scene, and you know, sometimes you double date with folks and stuff. And you know, my friend would always hear back from her girlfriend, "Child, I can't believe you got a man that'll actually stand up when you go to use the restroom, or stand up when you come back." I was like, "Well, I'm gonna do what everybody else ain't doing anyway, because that's just my style." Right. But I understand that, you know what, if you got a lady, treat her like a lady.
And when we were growing up, we had that music that, you know, that I believe, I'm a strong believer in, out of the heart the mouth speaks. Today the music doesn't speak of love. To the left. You know, there's no love in the heart, so you can't speak about it like in the days of old when they had the real love songs, you know. And that helps to create that atmosphere of intimacy and love between the two people, because that could dispel a lot of stuff, you know what I'm saying? But we don't have that kind of music unless
that's mainstream music.
Oh yeah,
and there's a lot of music out there that.
I'm just talking about if you wanted to do something fun or whatever. Our age group, it's like we have to go way back.
I'm not in some people's age group, and I go way back. I be listening to that.
I think at the same time, when we're talking about role models, is that my uncles were around, you know, to say, man, this is what you need to do, this is what you have to do. You know, there are not enough good male role models for our young men.
Yeah, that's true.
So
females alike.
Women will have to deal with what they get, and at the same time, these guys haven't been trained the right way. Right. So then, of course, you got a generation of women that have been are going out with these guys that have no idea on how to treat a woman. And then we've got the old school cats that still want to play.
Right. So how can we be role models for the people that are, you know, what can we do to teach somebody how to treat somebody correctly to keep love alive whenever they get into a relationship? I mean, what do we do?
Live by example.
Lead by example.
Live by example. Yeah. every day. You know what I'm
She's
saying?
competing with you. Now she's not complimenting you right now.
I'm just saying.
See, that's what the problem is right there. No. Correct me.
You know what I mean? In front of all our guests.
But you know, in all due respect, you know, they say communication is the main thing, but also you got to learn how to love unconditionally. You can love a person, but if you don't love them unconditionally, you're not going to last in the relationship.
I don't love him no more. He lost his arm.
So just the way
like
that we can love our children unconditionally when they take us through whatever rigmarole they take us through, we should be able to do that with our mates that we're with.
They say that the number one reason why people get divorced is because of finances.
Right.
So if the money go, are you go?
Exactly.
I'm asking.
No, that's
She said yes. That's what exactly it means.
No, I didn't mean that.
And that's what I heard. I hear that.
We know that up front.
Right. No, you work together.
That's exactly right.
To make
because
the finances come
I
together.
had a similar situation. Our reasons for not being married had nothing to do with that. We stuck it out. We went on trips and had struggled a lot, but you know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to say it was fun, but the fun of it was that it was me and my husband. We were
Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah.
Right.
We were going through it together, you know what I'm saying? And we still made the most of bad situations because I tell my children to look at any bad situation and try to pull the good out of it. Focus on the good. Pull all the good out of every bad situation, and that keeps you able to, you know, go forward instead of being mean and upset about a situation. So, but yeah.
And learn to forgive each other when each other.
Right. It is easier said than done, you know, but you do have to make a decision. I mean, and I think that we give a lot of lip service, but we don't lead by example.
Okay, we live in Atlanta. Let's not act like we don't.
ATL.
We live in Atlanta.
All day.
But we can't categorize the whole city.
No, we can't categorize the whole city.
Doing that,
But we can get close.
Speaking from a person not born here. Were you born here?
I'm from Georgia.
Oh, are you?
Yes, I'm a Georgia native.
What are you city?
Say what?
Why are you down in your city?
I ain't from here.
First of all, it's a lot of people that move to Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? I get it all the time when I tell them I'm from Georgia.
So you think that the people that aren't native to this area can't keep love alive in relationships? Is that what y'all were saying?
No. What I'm saying is because I know a lot of people from Atlanta, and they tell me the same thing. They say, Eric, the overall thought that people are so materialistic didn't come in until all of the people came in from out of town.
And that's true.
Right.
He says most people from Atlanta were cool, down home.
So there's no real authenticity, is that what you're saying?
What you say? Authenticity.
Authenticity.
And you know when you look at again she did it. But like you said, when I talk to people from Atlanta, I said, you know what? That's not how we are. Yeah. So it's not.
And we're not.
And when I talk to people from Atlanta, I truly believe that because they've got that down home South type of thing going on, and just good people. But the other element that came into the city that made it what we call Black Hollywood, and people, you know, driving Bentleys and living in an apartment,
right.
You know, keeping up with the Joneses, and then trying to check you on what you do. So what do you do? I just met you 2 minutes ago. I just asked to buy you a drink.
So essentially you're saying that the people that you meet are primarily transplants that have an unrealistic expectation of what they think you have. So that's why they want to...
The barometer. What do you do? Where do you work? How much money you make?
That's a big old red flag.
I'm like, and your name is who? I mean, and you see a lot of that. That's what I'm saying is, so you're talking about dating. You just got to get the right person because a lot of times you don't know what they want until it's to the part where you're in love and you're like, oh,
well, that's why being friends first is important. If you take sex out of the equation.
People don't take the time.
And see, she thought we were going to jump on that.
I wasn't going to say anything.
You did the same thing I did.
I wasn't going to say
anything.
anything.
I believe what you say. We should take it out the equation.
No, but people need to take the time.
Exactly.
They need to take the time to get to know
one another because you can't be friends with all of that in the
Exactly, because you bypass that. 6 months later.
Well, see, what it is that, you know, ladies want to get to know your wallet first before they get to know you, so they don't want to waste their time. You know what I mean?
Double-edged sword. The women want the money and the dudes want the goods. That's what it is.
No. I think genuinely men, you know, want a woman that yokes him. The perfect person
and vice versa.
for him, or you know, and vice versa. But see what I'm saying? Okay, so then you ask yourself, what is that perfect person for me then?
Okay, let's
and then
continue.
A lot of ladies, number one thing is that Gucci wallet.
Well, when you start being friends with that person, you'll know that that's going to be a problem. Then you'll know that you can't move on because this person's materialistic. You see what I'm saying? So there was no sex in the beginning. You got to know that person. You're friends with that person. Now you find out, oh, this person is just a material, you know.
It's tricky though, because you know, there's nothing wrong with having ambition.
I think asking the right questions. I was reading a book about the questions that you asked me in the initial phase of getting together and everything. Right, and I think you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes, when you said earlier, a man wants to put his best foot forward, and so does a woman want to put it back. I think if you continuously to ask questions behind the questions that you ask, you can probe in a way that's not offensive to the person, so that you can find out what you need to find out and leave all the other stuff, you know, beside. Because if you ask the right questions, then you'll get the right answers.
Well, on that note, I think that we should enjoy the rest of our meal and carry on till the next time, because that was pretty interesting. I mean, really, I believe that everything that you guys said is very powerful, and, you know, from both perspectives, you know, we need to continue this conversation. So until next time we meet for Intimately Delightful Discussions, y'all have a great day and enjoy the rest of your meal. And we'll see you next time on Intimately Delightful Discussions by Intimate Delights. I'm Robin Hamilton, and thank you. Have a good night.